One of the hallmarks of the right-wing Republican is the false equivalency claim, or as you probably know it as the, well, what about, and then they name a Democrat. This is Ben Shapiro, a fast-talking young Republican whose Botox smirk makes it appear he hasn't taken a shit since William F. Buckley died. And like many Republicans, he tries to balance the evil inside his own party with, well, I'll use his own words, the lunacy of the left. So let's start with the breaking news.
Congressman Taylor is investigating this. He's released a statement. I'm just going to quote the congressman now. I am aware of an image that appears to depict a vile and deeply inappropriate symbol near an employee in my office. The content of that image does not reflect the values or standards of this office.
Okay, so the conservative Republican congressman says he's against swastikas. He abhors them and has no place in his party. Now, whether or not that's true, it's the right thing to say. Now, let's contrast that with the absolute wrong thing to say.
The reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys. They tell edgy, offensive jokes like that's what kids do. And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives.
Okay, for starters, J.D. Vance is a fucking moron. And it's so obvious that if he went out on a playground today, a 12-year-old will kick his ass. And I love the comment, come on, kids are kids. Yeah, sure, 6 million men, women, and children were gassed by Nazis, but these guys are just funning around. They're young Republicans. Now contrast that to Jimmy Kimmel, who commented on the politics of Charlie Kirk's killer, and then Trump illegally used the FCC to censor all debate. Now, why did Vance say this?
That's what kids do.
It's hard to fathom, but it's symptomatic of the two faces of the Republican shitfest, where one day they say Israel forever, and the next day it's Jews will not replace us. So now back to this twat waffle, Ben Shapiro, who was Charlie Kirk 1.0 and is also Jewish and Republican and seemingly disgusted by Vance's words, yet he nonetheless gives it the old college try, deflecting the blame, shocker, on liberals.
Finally, it actually is not sufficient to publicly proclaim you're not going to condemn these people while you don't say anything about their comments and instead just project to the other side. Because strategically, on a strategic level, this is how your party ends up being taken over by the ambulatory psychotics. Okay, I want to look at the left because that's how it happened.
All right, stop it right there. Ben Shapiro blaming Vance for not condemning the swastika and the kids who displayed it, blame the Democrats for the same behavior. But spoiler alert, he's fucking wrong.
The left decided they would not, under any circumstances, condemn their own ambulatory psychotics because those people were part of their coalition, and they couldn't do it, or they would lose. And you know what ended up happening? The alligator ate them first, not last. They ended up being taken over by the crazy wing. Because if you lose your systemic immunity to crazy, crazy tends to be really, really, really infectious. Okay, first of all, let's just be clear about something. There's this weird idea on the right that the left wins because they're totally unified and they completely side with one another. The left is not winning. I know that we are sort of a depressive right, that we've gotten addicted to the depressive. The left is not winning. Donald Trump has been president those times, 2 times. Republicans are in control of the Senate. Republicans are in control of the House. Republicans are in control of the majority of government. They're being destroyed because of the thing I'm talking about happening on the right. Because they decided that the nut jobs and the radicals in their own party could not be condemned under any circumstances. They decided to feature Ilhan Omar on the cover of magazines and unite around the crazy college protesters and the BLM rioters and the transgender radicals. And guess what? They got their asses kicked because of it.
Real quick, yes, Democrats have gotten our asses kicked politically because we care about marginalized people. And yes, we did fuck up by backing trans men competing against girls and beta blockers for 12-year-olds. What we should have said is there's 2 million college athletes in the NCAA and there's 12 trans athletes competing against girls. But just because we oppose one thing doesn't mean we're for gay people and trans people being beaten up.
Thou shalt lay with another man shall be stoned to death.
I mean, tell me, why do you guys care if a man wants to dress as a woman?
Moderates walked away. The non-crazy walked away. This is the dirty little secret of how Donald Trump won the election of 2024. He ran as a moderate. People who were moderate picked him above the unified left that was siding with all of their radicals and defending all of their radicals and massaging all of their radicals. Because it turns out this is a very big country with an awful lot of people, and the vast majority of them are not loon bags. And the vast majority of them don't like the lunacy.
And yes, Ilhan Omar is a Muslim. She's opinionated but not crazy. She opposes Israel, but so does Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene. And the college protests, BML rioters, the Democrats support the BML movement, not the rioters in Minnesota. And yes, asshole, there's a difference. Just because there might be a riot, you don't say, as Charlie Kirk did, that George Floyd didn't die from Derek Chauvin's knee on his throat for 10 minutes. He was a drug dealer.
We need to be real about the agenda of many of the people who are continuing to rely on the kindness of the quote-unquote traditional Republicans who quote-unquote don't want to attack right. Marjorie Taylor Greene is dividing the Republican Party, not the people criticizing Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is attacking the president day in and day out. Who's dividing the party? The people who mention it or Marjorie Taylor Greene?
That last part's my favorite. Marjorie Taylor Greene, a.k.a. Dairy Queen, she's still MAGA. She supports racism, attacks on immigrants, and yes, she's an anti-Semite and would probably support Trump declaring martial law. She went after the GOP, ironically, for not caring about red state Republicans. First, she forgot to read the budget bill, but then owned up to it.
Congresswoman, you say in full transparency you didn't know that this was in there, and now you're shining a light on it. How did you not know that it was in there, and how'd you find out about it?
Well, we don't get the full bill text until very close to the time to vote for it. And so that was one section, that was 2 pages that I didn't see.
So after the big, beautiful bill passed the House, Dairy Queen learned 2 things. 1, the AI part of the budget was going to cost jobs in her district. And 2, the bill cut ACA subsidies, which will cause up to 30,000 people in her district to lose access to health care.
The ACA subsidies, do you want to see them extended before the end of the year?
What I want to see is I want to see Republicans and Democrats come together on a plan that's literally going to help Americans afford health insurance. Because right now the health insurance industry is completely broken. The current system in place, which was passed by the Democrats in 2010, those credits do expire. And if they do expire, we're going to see millions of Americans' health insurance premiums double and even maybe upwards from that.
And my favorite irony, the people she's trying to protect are the minority and mostly Democrats in her district. Greene isn't the problem with the Republican Party. While Shapiro may be right that the Democrats embrace the wrong political messages, they're doing it for the right reasons. I mean, come on, minorities, LGBT, and non-Christians, the Democrats say you're welcome in this country, but MAGA?
There are demonic forces.
If you don't like our religion, then we don't want you in our country.
Here's what's wrong with MAGA, Trump, and the turds like Ben Shapiro. They choose religion and fear over reason and science. Why? Because it's easier to say the Bible hates gays than to understand why people are who they are. And science, ever since Galileo, religion's always been challenged by reason and knowledge. I mean, think about it. Jesus' mom was a virgin. He was a son of God who made dead people come alive, and he floated up to heaven. I mean, if a person believes that, good luck explaining vaccines.
I don't wear a mask for the same reason I don't wear underwear. Things gotta breathe.
Look, Ben Shapiro is a symptom of the sickness that has infected American politics and culture. And to have a vice president excuse the kids who joke about the Holocaust while victims of that nightmare are still amongst us tells you all you need to know about the GOP. But fair or not, all of this is going to fall on the Democratic Party. We need to learn how to speak to the MAGA base about how we can all somehow come together.
Back and look, if something like this, that thing's so ugly.
Okay, that might take some time.
Don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator.
Goddamn right.
I think the president is definitely f***ing Satan.
They know how to get to me.
I kept my underwear on.
Go fuck yourself.
A witch hunt.
Suck my fat one.
You're a nasty person. They had what?
Who you talking to?
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
So this is the guy that peddles in garbage.
I'm Chip Franklin.